Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After that break, Incite versus Avant Game 2 going to get underway in just a moment. Incite taking the last game in spectacular fashion. Avant they need to find something different in this game. My name is Jackal, and I'm joined by Link's clone for this game. What do Avant need to do this time in picks and bans to change it up and get a split here?
We discussed it in the pre-show, and basically we said they need to draft late game. The Neath was a massive detriment. The Geb wasn't out because simply they didn't have the damage to back up that Geb with the Cataclysm, and they simply just got destroyed by by everyone, since there was high amount of burst damage coming from both the solo, the mid, and the ADC role. And Kiko Mir was just doing a beautiful job of just cleaning people up.
As we're going to go live into picks and bans, Incite are going to be the order side this game. Avant elected to take the Chaos side, the second pick, which will allow them more flexibility in terms of counter picks, which is exactly what they need to make sure they draft according to Incite, not according to what they want to play. Susano going to be the first ban.
Yeah, for this entire time, there's only one time Susano was let through, and when he was let through, it was complete and utter carnage. Currently, definitely the strongest jungler in the game, and considered borderline broken. You do not want him to get picked up. Guan Yu being the next ban for Avant.
So far, no Hui or Khepri bans coming out from either side, and that can be a bit worrying for Avant, especially considering Incite. They will run it back. They will do the exact same 5 picks and do the exact same thing again, considering how well it worked. Raichu going to be taken off the table. Avant, they need to try and ban something differently. If Thor's still open, that could definitely be a key pickup for one of these two teams. Has to be a Khepri ban here or a Hui ban, surely.
Yes, otherwise I'm getting this feeling of deja vu where Incite is going to absolutely stomp them again, because this is the exact same 3 bans, except they have learned it since Avant. Getting rid of that Khepri last game, Biggie was unstoppable. That Scarlet's Blessing just soaked up so much damage and just allowed him to come back to life. Incite got that first pick, and my guess, it's Hu Yi, and here he comes.
Yeah, both the ADCs, Just Lady and Roll Diggity, really showing proficiency on this god, so no surprise to see him picked up first pick by Incite. Avant options back over to them. 2 picks for that. 2 picks for those guys. Thor notably let through picks and bans. I'd like to see him picked up here by Avant. They could look to pick up a mid laner as well. And Janice, Mouse, real treat here for you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Mouse's signature god. You may notice a theme in Oceania. A lot of people, their Yadis is where they specialize. For Lona, that could be most likely going to L Chuckles, but do not put it past Liquid Renegade to play that in the jungle. He likes those tanky warrior and even Thor kind of junglers. Thor getting picked up as well as Athena for Insights.
Already, Incite's comp is looking incredibly scary. A lot of space and zone control coming out from Hu Yi, Thor, and Athena, as well as damage coming out from Hu Yi and Thor. Jing Wei could be the pickup for Avant. We talked about it a bit last time when she was banned. The amount of early game control she has, simply because just really shouldn't die early game, because you can go back to base and just fly back to lane incredibly quickly, is absolutely absurd. Zeus going to be the ban from Avant. Didn't work out last time for them, and they do not want Incite to show them up on it.
No, especially since Mouse has been able to draft a very high burst mage. If they can get rid of all the other burst mages, they'll be absolutely fine. Incite, getting rid of Sobek, they're trying to get rid of all the aggressive supports from Avant since they have that aggressive support in Athena. She's just going to be, come at me, and I'm going to toy you, and you can't do shit about it unless you have purification.
They're going to be taken off the table as well by Avant. Really just getting away from all of these mid-mages to give Yanis as best matchup as possible. Sobek taken off the table really stops the combination coming out from Sobek and a Wheelix. So it's really a good ban. Bans away 2 picks, really, and Hombat's taken off the table as well. Avant going to have to go deep into their jungle pool.
Yes, last game we saw, even though Liquid Renegade didn't perform especially well on the Humbats, Humbat is actually a pretty good way to deal with the Athena, Thor, and Hu Yi, and they can basically, he can jump into that Gold Fury pit and break them apart, force them away. Kumbhakana, a very strange sort of draft for Avant as the next pick.
I love Kumbhakana. He's probably the most undervalued support out there, considering he offers so much control on lockdown, especially if you build enough cooldown reduction. About 30% is the sweet spot. Yes, he does diminish return your team entirely, but what support doesn't? And with Nuar Bracken, Incite have essentially ran it back. They just had to change up their jungle and support because of ban and a more favorable pickup being open to them. And Amaterasu for Avant, Bellona looks to be going into the jungle.
Yes, that Bracken, that's definitely going to be going back to the base. What we've been seeing that last couple of weeks with Shred, Llamas in Pajamas playing with Shurix as well, that Bracken solo has just been such a strong pick. I feel like every single time Bracken gets drafted, that team seems to just win just because he has such powerful, potent damage.
And now we're going to into game Incite versus Avant-Garde. Avant-Garde, they struggled last game. They need to turn their fortunes around this one, and they have a good comp to be able to do that with. A lot of lockdown and frontline presence to have a sustained fight. Incite, they will also be looking for a bit more of a sustained fight as well, but they do have the better burst on their side, so Avant-Garde taking the extended engagement is more preferable for them. Incite looking to just burst down and take a fight within the first 5 seconds. And let's run through the teams. Incite, the Beast rerunning that Bracken Power Potion solo lane. Kikiami in the jungle with Thor. Yada rerunning that Warlock / Rush. Mid lane Nuar and Biggie just laning, combining for the dual lane of Athena and Huyi.
And for Avant-Garde, on the right side of Spectator UI, the Chaos side, we got El Chuckles in the solo lane on Amaterasu, similar to last game. Liquid Renegade playing Bologna in the jungle. Mouse on his signature gold in the mid lane as Yanis, and Tomahawk and Rob Diggity on Kupakana and Jingwei in the dual lane, respectively.
And the ADC matchup between Justlaney and Rob Diggity is going to get even more interesting. Justlaney picks the god which both of them wanted, the Huyi, and Rob Diggity playing the surprise pick of Jingwei. Not many people have had experience against this pick. Very niche one indeed. Explosive bolts combined with the throwing dagger really gives great clear early on. And a nice knockup, which you don't usually see on an ADC.
Not to mention that knockup provides an incredible attack speed steroid going into the mid game, as I believe it gives around 40% attack speed increase if you basically walk into it yourself and knock yourself up. That is a massive difference, especially since you need to be able to beat that Huyi in the boxing match. And even the smallest advantage can be the difference between one ADC killing the other.
And Liquid Renegade in the jungle with that Bologna has the speed buff and the power potion available to him, as well as the sprint. So very aggressive start coming out from Liquid Renegade. Look for early ganks and early rotations. But the early rotation is going to be even harder right now onto these mid-harpies. Yada going to be the ire of a lot of damage here.
And the sprint was popped there. El Chuckles credited with the kill. Yada falls for the first blood. Very easy pickup and great rotation by Avant. A very different start compared to last time.
Yeah, just Mouse calling a good rotation. I recognized that they were going for the mid-harpies. They had the ward coverage to know exactly where they were going as well. Now they're also credited with these fire imps. The Beast to rotate the Chuckle to catch El Chuckle's rotation back up to the solo lane. Was not going to be able to do that. Just dashing past him is the solo laner. And now with a good advantage in the early game is Avant-Garde. They need to look to try and press this now.
Yes, this is the one time now Yada's build has come to bite him on the ass. It may have been fine to do against a Zeus to go that kind of build, but you're dealing with a Soulstone Giannis who's going to be clearing wave extremely quickly, and if he hits you with an unstable vortex, you are going to be chipped down, especially this early on. And that build has now become a massive detriment for him.
Rob Diggity and Tomahawk currently sitting under their tower. Need a rotation to try and alleviate this situation, because Justlaney and Biggie have been playing this very aggressively as you'd expect. Tomahawk and Rob Diggity just playing it back. Make sure they don't die. Make sure they don't give up first blood. Well, first blood in this lane.
Yeah, they need to ensure that Rob Diggity gets ahead, because last game, as we saw, Justlaney was able to spiral out of control. Neath wasn't actually doing... I don't think I saw any sort of pressure coming out from that Neath. Even the Spirit Arrows were weak and meager. There was nothing coming from there. And that Huyi really shined that game. So if they can shut him down this game and let the Jingwei shine instead, they can easily take this game and win, because they have a much better late game lineup.
Yeah, well, mid lane going to be cleared up as quickly as you'd like from Kikiamiyu and Yada. Just clearing up those minions. Left hand side, Jingwei went back to base. It's going to be flying back in. Tomo going to be hit by the ricochet stun. Going to be taunted out as well. Good CC Chen. Down some purification from Just As you look to try and take this down, but that may be just all that they need to go in aggressive to Avant-Garde.
However, Bigger was actually forced about the meditation there just to ensure Rob Diggity wouldn't go fully ham onto Justlaney. As you saw that rapid reincarnation just allowed him to get straight back into lane. A ability only left to really the relics of the solo laners, but no, Jingwei, she has complete control of the map.
Yeah, and well, what you saw from Zapman when Zapman played Jingwei was every single time he backed, he went to the back harpies as well, picked those up, and then ran into the lane. Still got to lane before the minions even got there. So just accelerated from like got ahead of the enemy ADC. You're really looking for Rob Diggity on this Jingwei to start snowballing a bit heavier than you would expect an ADC to. But he's not been able to do that so far, really just forced back into inopportune times.
Yes, but he has been making things a lot harder simply because he has been given that advantage and already a 1-level lead going towards him. Back to the aggressive play from Biggie on that Athena. Kumbhakana has a very weird way of clearing that lane with the 3 minions, and he kind of makes the lane very awkward.
Yeah, that's going to... He's a tiny bit behind, but with this ball pick, he should find himself slightly ahead until Chesley picks those ones up for himself. In the mid lane, Yada, Biggie, and Kikyo Mio just grouping up together. And this is what you want to see. You want to see your mid ADC and jungle just stick together and go around the map, terrorizing the kingdom.
Not to mention, they can terrorize
El Chuckles. El Chuckles quite low in the solo lane. So low, but the tectonic shift from the beast is going to miss, actually. And that's going to allow El Chuckles to escape.
That is an incredible save for El Chuckles, just being able to get out of that dazzling gleam and just get it. However, Liquid Renegade picks up a kill on Kikyo Mio. This Bologna jungle coming to actually prove to be an extremely handy part for Avant Garde. Now 0-2 at 4 minutes.
It's a 700, nearly 800 gold advantage over Kikyo Mio in the jungle right now. Just Liquid Renegade and a level advantage. Could turn into 2 in just a second, but absolutely unreal play right now from Avant Garde as Incite not looking like the team they were last game.
And Liquid Renegade possibly looking to actually steal this red buff. There is a ward on that red buff, and the Eagles rally is ready to go whenever he wants to dive in. However, I think Just Lightning has spotted it, and they've actually leashed it further back to ensure Renegade can't get a whiff of that buff. Yada just easily getting that free buff, and now doing the back camps.
Just clearing up the wave to walk, and Liquid Renegade staying up together. Now there's the 2-1 advantage I was talking about. Liquid Renegade is leveling up the Scourge second, and I kind of do agree with this, considering he's going against the Kraken, who's one of his abilities relies on auto attacks. You could shut that down for 1 second longer by leveling this ability up. And just Laney, on that who you really want to stop his basic attacks from coming out when you are marked with that Golden Crow.
Not to mention the blocker effect from the shield bash stays the same at all levels. The damage isn't that high, and the slow is actually pretty decent at level 1. So what you want to do is get that bludgeon up there as much as possible. Smash down.
Chuckles in that solo lane again. This time, Defend Olympus comes down onto the beast as the Dazzling Event stuns the Kraken out of his tremors. When it comes, the fire shot, but it's not enough to deal with our Chuckles. Another turnaround of the beast could happen. Liquid Renegade on the rotation finds a good bludgeon damage. Bounces here, unstable vortex over the top, but a good dunk down from Kikyo Mio stops the damage, and the beast lives.
And now the double tap able to keep Liquid Renegade there as the wall just completely blocks him off. Biggie trying to find a taunt on somebody, anybody, but this is just going to be a reset as everyone's going to retreat. The beast is now back in the lane, forced to use teleport to come back, and now everyone's going to back off. Speed buff is coming up very soon for both sides, as well as the blue buff for Avant Garde. That could have been a lot worse than what originally happened.
Balls coming out now from the boys on Avant Garde. Maybe a disconnect from one of their players. Could be some issues in their voice comms. Who knows? Who cares? We just want to get through the sport so we can get back into this game.
Yes, this game has already been extremely exciting. Avant Garde, they seem to have learned from their mistakes from the last game. They are now playing a lot more aggressive. They've actually been taking advantage of the fact they have this Bologna, they have this Amaterasu, and they've been going quite offensive. It was a good job by Kikyo Mio getting a really nice Anvil of Dawn, putting himself between Liquid Renegade as well as the beast to zone them out, put that wall down, and ensure nothing could come, even though Mouse was outputting a ridiculous amount of damage with that unstable vortex.
Early Frostbound Hammer started up for Liquid Renegade, and you know he's doing that for one thing, and it's just to be as annoying as possible to this Nuar, who doesn't have a dash to get out of the situation. Kikyo Mio also would have to use his multi-attunement to get it away from the slows. The beast does have slow immunity in his kit, so he could be looking to using that more sparingly as a disengage tool rather than an engage tool.
However, you can also force out that dive bomb from a Huyi during Garde fight. That's still also a win. Just being a Bologna is just someone, kind of similar to Athena. She is the quintessential warrior, kind of similar to how Raijin and Susanoo are for their respective roles. What she does is she gets in your face, she outputs a lot of damage, and she can build tanky, but still do a lot of damage. Especially in this jungle role, you might see a bit more damage than you expect from a solo lane Bologna. She will be a threat even in the late game.
Another pause coming out from Rob Diggity. Something's not right over on the side of Avant Garde right now.
Yeah, like, I can't see anyone having disconnected, but of course, as you said, there are a lot of external issues that can go on, especially the fact Australian internet isn't the most reliable.
And then Mouse is the one we deceived.
Yeah, that is a very big shame. Luckily, Luckily, he wasn't too near combat, and luckily, he's just going to be able to reset. My guess is very surely he will be finishing off that Doom Orb. He's one of the gods who can transition into a Doom Orb, since he has those portals as well as the threshold to safely put himself in the backline and not get picked off.
They're currently sitting with a 2-0 kill advantage. Our Avant-Garde over Incite. And we take a look at the graphs. You can see it's a 2,330 experience, 1,477 gold lead, 7 minutes in. Not a big snowball, but it can certainly transition into one for Avant-Garde. Just need to make sure they get the right picks, play correctly as well, and take down those map objectives.
They do need to be careful though, actually look at the player damage charts, we see that the Beast still topping the charts as Kabrakan. Still outputting that damage with the Tremors, the Refraction Shield, as well as the Seismic Crush. Nothing has been, like recently we've seen a lot of Kabrakan in the OPL, and this is why.
I mean, he does a lot of damage, he doesn't take much back in return, especially considering most Kabrakan solo laners will build this mark in the Vanguard, and his passive also mitigating 5% of damage. So you have 5% being taken off, as well as 5 damage being taken off outright as well. It just makes for a very tanky, very annoying solo laner who will kill you if given the opportunity.
Not to mention, you see a lot of Kabrakans go into the Void Stone, so they have that magical defense, but they also will be taking away your magical defenses. So Mouse, if he gets caught out, gets blinked on, gets Seismic Crushed, you're not going to live.
And there we go. The pause has come out, and the engage in the mid lane. Minions coming out to deter the aggression from Avant-Garde. Renegade going over to the left-hand side and just going to split this as a 5-man. Why did Avant-Garde have a 5-man grouping in the mid lane?
They magically do now, especially the fact that Mouse can teleport across the map. They can easily put themselves in that sort of position. However, the Beast is looking to engage with Biggie, getting a nice taunt onto Tomahawk.
Oh, but good portal there from Mouse to protect his support. That goes to Tectonic Shift as well from Beast. They look to trap Kumbhakana in, but again, they can't find it. Double Ricochet from just lane. They could get his passive out here. Yada going into the 5 shots. No, they still can't get the passive. Oh, they can't kill Mouse as well. A lot of resources invested into try to take down Kumbhakana and indeed Mouse as well. And neither of them fall. Advantage Avant-Garde in the next fight.
However, Incite do have the clay minions and a Huyi in the middle, and they could easily look to take this tier 1 tower and just completely open up the map with this Thor as well as Athena.
Oh, but Queen caught on left hand side. Liquid Renegade was being a sneaky fox. Used his sprint to get away from the Thor, who was doing a lot of damage. As he's been leveling his ability to spin to win. It has been the spin to win, actually. Not a build you see often, but given that there isn't a lot of interrupt on the side of Avant-Garde outside of ultimates, you sort of do agree with this build.
Yes, it is a different to the normal build, but again, we need to remember Kikyo has only been playing jungle recently. It could be possibly just a confidence thing, just like he may not be confident enough in his Mjolnir's attunement and wants to ensure he can get out of damage once he lands that Anvil of Dawn, and he knows the Berserker Barrage is that constant, easy to secure damage.
Rob Diggity baiting out the Ricochet from just landing. Mark of the Golden Crow is not on him at this time. On the right hand side, the Beast chasing away on Chuckles. But as he saw that no civil weapons come down, he realizes there may be people around this corner. I'm gonna back off and go farm some more. That sounds good.
Yes, this game kind of going a very similar result as last time. Around this time, people are just farming up, waiting for the Gold Fury. Neither side had the best Gold Fury secure. The best option for Avant-Garde is to have a long-range Yanis snipe. And for Incite, they do have these Suns. However, this time they do have a bit more competition, as Avant-Garde can be very cheeky and steal it away from them.
Gold Fury Vision going to go in the way of Avant-Garde. Just been Sentry Warded there. I don't know who took out the Sentry Ward and who was credited with 50 gold, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Tomahawk should really be the ones taking it out to allow him to buy more wards in the future. That's
Over by the speed buff though, Defender of Olympus as well as the Dazzling Off has come out, as well as the Anvil of Dawn.
And now Del Chuckles is in a lot of trouble. 4-man rotation. Because they made the 4-man rotation over to the solo lane, you know what that means. Gold Fury going to get started up by the boys of Avant-Garde. This should be absolutely free. Chuckles still lives as well. Double tap, not going to hit from Kikyo Mio. This Gold Fury has gone the way of Avant-Garde. In the air goes just Laney. He's going to get falling down here as well. Rob Diggity credited with the kill, and Biggie too late to save his ADC.
That was an extremely poor choice of rotation there by Incite. They completely let that Gold Fury open, and it's Amaterasu you're trying to fight here. She's one tanky, who she has the Divine Presence to get away, and she has the Glorious Charge. She has so many different ways to get away so quick. I don't understand why they put so many resources into such a tanky and mobile god.
Yeah, well, when your speed buff is being invaded on by an enemy, your jungler is always going to go over and rotate and kill this guy. Please do it. He's taking my stuff. Don't let him take my stuff. And this is exactly what happened.
I don't know, I'm pretty sure the speed up actually had already dropped at the time. It was merely how the Beast was basically boxing it out with El Chuckles, and Kikiomio was around at the time. This is as we can see, like, as I said, Kikiomio beginning into jungle, there are going to be a few mistakes coming through. But as we said, this is a 10-week split. There is a lot of time to improve, and we have already seen in that first game how well he did perform.
Yeah, and I believe the roster lot comes into effect at the end of this week, so final changes for this, the final changes you will see are coming out in this week before the players are stuck with the current rosters which they are in. And I don't see either of these rosters changing, really.
No, Avant and Garde have been together since the very beginning of the split one of this year, and actually even a little bit longer. The team hasn't changed very much, except for Liquid Renegade basically joining the lineup, I believe, and Fonke leaving when they were under Integral Nation last year. They have been together for so long, and the brotherly dual lane of Rob, Diggity, and Tomahawk has always remained, even from the very beginning of last year.
Fast being hit by a double tap, going to return some damage onto Garde, though. And Liquid Renegade and the Beast just exchanging a few kind words over in that jungle.
Yes, there's not much, and Jingwei is actually looking to rotate over as the taunt and the dazzling offense come out from El Chuckles.
And down goes the through space and time, hitting Biggie. Fire shots does hit as well as you'd expect. Liquid Renegade gonna get dunked on, but away he goes with the Eagles rally. The Beast looking aggressive here. Not gonna be able to find him, but Tomahawk gonna use some roots on him. The Beast immune to roots whilst he's using that seismic crush.
A Defender of Olympus was also popped just at the end of that teamfight onto Laney. I'm not sure that was really required as Gold Fury is down. There was no real threat of the tower being lost there, but that just ensures if they won, they can be aggressive in this dual lane, as it seems like the two dual lane partners are grouping up.
Yeah, looking for aggressive once more. Just Laney behind Rob Diggity on this Jingwei. And it's actually behind by a pretty significant margin. 600 gold, it's the senior, is Rob Diggity, and a level ahead. So it's only advantage going to Jingwei. Tomahawk 2 levels ahead of Biggie. When did that happen?
Yeah, that simply happened when remember, it's 0 and 3, and they got a Gold Fury. You need to remember, this advantage is slowly building up for Avant Garde. But if they can get just a little bit further ahead, they can push this into a full-blown victory, similar to how Incite did in their mid-game, and they can basically do a complete reversal of what originally happened.
Kikiomio just walling off the Beast, saying, no, do not go aggressive there. But the Biggie was already on the rotation. The Beast going aggressive there as well. Chucks with a dazzling offense, just keeping the Beast off him. And now the speed buff's going to go the way of Incite, reclaiming his own speed buff once more is Kiki.
Yes, there's not much been going on. Yada getting messed out there by Tomahawk as he just walks away casually. Taunt will come out onto Tomahawk. However, he's just going to use the portal, get away.
Not even going to do that. Mouse going to get caught up by Just Laney on the left-hand side. Mid-hop, he's going to be eating so much damage to the basic attacks. Jumping in is Just Laney, looking for the aggression, but through the wall goes Mouse. Up in the air goes Thor. Who's he going to be looking for? He's going to land down on Mouse in the backline, but good news to saturate. Gets the mid laner out of there. Now Kikimi is stuck in an awkward position. Tomahawk on the rotation, but it's going to be not able to find anything. And just a complete wash of a fight there. No one dies. An ultimate or two expended here and there, and hard to call who has the advantage.
Yes, well, they need to start looking for some towers to fall. Currently, not a single... Actually, no, sorry, take that back. One tower has fallen in the solo lane in the side of Incite, which we saw last game, but that is it. Nothing else has happened in the way of objective control. Since Yada does have those claim minions, who is actually a pretty quick auto attacker, especially since he's going to be going into that Ichabod and getting quite a decent attack speed buff from that. They should be looking to try and take these towers and push an objective advantage and get themselves, propel them into that late game.
The king has been dethroned. Bracken no longer has top damage. That's going to go away of Just Laney, who's sitting above him by just over 100 damage. So still very close between them, but Just Laney starting to put it in work for his team, and it needs to, as they're currently behind and maybe falling even further behind as mid tower is going to get aggressed on.
And Defender Olympus, as well as the double tap, will land. Mouse getting a very nice pull, but the taunt onto Liquid Renegade may be the end of him, and the wall to keep him inwards.
Eagles rally by Liquid Renegade used defensively to get himself out of the tower range. Rob Diggity on the rotation, as is Just Laney. Both ADCs arriving in the mid lane at the exact same time, and now it's a fully fledged 5 versus 5. Or at least it would be if they grouped up. Kikiomio on the left side jungle. Going to be warded out though. Rob Diggity and Liquid Renegade making sure they know exactly where their store is at all times.
However, it looks like Incite might want to actually have a look at this Gold Fury. They do need to be aware that there are a lot of Avant Garde wards around this Gold Fury pit, but they started up as they know they have the numbers.
This could be it. This could be a bad decision between this Gold Fury. 3 space and time hits 4 people from Mouse. And then look to put some aggression onto him. Mouse very low, had to go away. Fire shot should clean up the mid laner. Does indeed. Yada credits him with the kill, but he may be causing himself some more pain than he would have dished out there, as he's going to get aggressive on Chuckles, trying to kill Just Laney. The airstrike for Robotigity does a lot of damage, and now Tomahawk looking for it. Roots it out. He can't find it. No, Chuckles can't find it either. And out gets just Lenny on a slither of HP.
And while that's going on, Kikyo is falling extremely low. The weakening curse has been involved. The Beast! Double kill on Liquid Renegade. The Tremors are still falling. You have a Tomahawk using that power that is Kumbhakana, picks up Kikyo. And now they're on the retreat, Avant, as Incite are now going to be sitting there and waiting for Just Laney to return after being forced down so low.
Good blink from Tomahawk to get him away. Had to use it defensively, though. Surprised that no one from the side of Incite basically attacked that Kumbhakana to stop his blink from coming back up. They knew he had it up. They knew he had it in his inventory. If they didn't, and they didn't check for this entirety of the game, I don't know why they haven't checked.
They probably have checked, but that was an extremely chaotic team, especially for Just Laney. He was isolated by the Amaterasu, forced to pop the Sanctuary as soon as the fight started, as that dazzling offense was just doing so much damage. He was actually like in there for way too long, and I think the priority for the team was like, we need to keep Laney alive. If he's dead, we can't take this Gold Fury, and Avant just push that lead even further. Currently 2-4 is the scoreboard, so they have stemmed this bleeding.
Gold Fury gonna get baited out here by Avant Garde. They bait out Defender of Olympus ultimate from Biggie, and that's going to be a complete win for Avant Garde.
Yes, with the Defender of Olympus down, no matter what, they can actually make chaos on the map. Clay Soldier Shining Mail combo will connect on Tomahawk, but he is a tank. He's got Hardwall and Spirit Rope. He'll be absolutely fine, as everyone is still grouped up around the mid lane Gold Fury area, trying to make something happen at the 17-minute mark.
And hard to say who really has a good line in the next fight. Both of these teams very evenly matched in these boxing matches. No one's died as Kikyo goes up into the air, looking for Rob Diggity on the left-hand side. Gonna come crashing down on top of him any second now. Does he not see him? Gonna crash down the mid lane, actually. It's a huge fight, breaks down. Yada kills Mouse. And now Luca Renegade quite low himself up in the air. Goes Yada, not gonna be able to find enough damage with the fire shots. Jingwei returning over to the left-hand side. The ADCs are completely out of this fight. Tomahawk low up in the air where Biggie came crashing down, forced his team to just dissipate. Now Tomahawk's passive has been activated. Gonna survive this, or should at the very least. Liquid Renegade quite low. Yada picking up. Tomahawk knows gonna go the way of Biggie. Just Lady rotates as well, and now Incite have an advantage and should take down this mid tower.
However, Kikyo has been forced to back, and Rob Diggity now rotating as well as the dazzling offense. Damage popped on both Laney and Yada. The Beast using that seismic crush onto Rob Diggity and the Tremors. Rob Diggity using the airstrike to output a little bit more damage, and now using that agility to back up. Chuckles looking to see if he can find anything and force them away from this tower.
Oh, a good dasher from Elchucks. He may have sacrificed a lot of his HP there just to do minimal poke. Doesn't have any penetration in his build right now. Through space and time, gonna not clip anybody. Kikyo gonna miss a double tap with our Chuckles, but it forced Cabraca to stop his back now that through space and time, so not all doom and gloom there. And the Gold Fury actually could be started up here by Avant. It is indeed gonna be, looks like it could be taken very quickly.
Not necessarily. With that through space and time down, they don't have that massive security ultimate, and the Defender of Olympus has been used to re-engage Biggie, getting a two-man taunt.
Now Mouse Purification is down, Sanctuary is up, it's crashing down onto Rob Diggity. Kikyo Tomo kills just Laney. First casualty fight is the ADC, and Biggie's gonna be the next one. Granted, it's Mouse with the kill, and now this Gold Fury. Oh, the double Sentry Ward. Classic strategy from Avant Garde.
They're just being super careful. They do not want to blow this lead. Come so far this game in the complete opposite way of last game. They finally learned from their mistakes, and they don't want to make a mistake. El Chuckles using that dazzling offense to zone out both Kiki and Yada, and the Beast trying to steal the Gold Fury, but they reset it, and Mouse picks up the kill.
Kiki being forced to get away. That's his build. He's down. Double stun coming out from Liquid Renegade. Over the air goes Yada, not gonna land down in a favorable position. Actually, gonna be hit by the through space and time. One more basic attack should do it. Gonna find him. Not gonna be able to kill him though. It decides to back off completely. That was a free kill there for Tomahawk. Instead, the Gold Fury is gonna be free, and that one's definitely gonna be taken down.
Well, the reason why he couldn't actually pick up that kill there was simply because that fog actually obscured his vision. He couldn't tell exactly where Nuar was in the fog. The only thing he has was that groggy strike to try and land that brute, but he did land the mez. However, the fog just stayed long enough to keep Nuar obscured and allow it to get away. Even though that happened though, Gold Fury does go in the favor of Avant Garde. The gold graphs are not looking good for Incite. 7,000 gold XP, 7,000 XP, sorry, and 5,000 gold reads the scoreline. This is basically the complete opposite of what happened last time. Avant Garde showing really strong determination to win this game after having such a rough first game.
Yeah, they had the split in the first week, obviously lost in the second week. They need to find the split here to stay Well, this early on, really, to stay relevant in the race for the top 2 finish, because you'd expect other teams like Pandemonium, like Incite, like Deadweight to be winning a lot of their matches, and Avant really need to make sure that they do as well. They need to make sure that they split as often as possible when things look bad like they are doing.
I think that's fascinating that you say Deadweight are now the people to be looking at the top. When they went into the split, they were the Challenger Cup players. They were the unexpected. No one knew what they were going to. They were literally the Deadweight, the dropouts of other teams. And now they're at the top of the ladder. So seeing that mention is actually just such a funny thing to hear.
Don't forget, they are currently tied with Panda at the top, currently both sitting 4-0. And they do face each other tomorrow in a powerhouse match. I believe you and Husey are casting that one.
Yes, I'm actually super excited. They both show extremely strong potential, and this may actually be the competition that Pandemonium need. Ancient Minds, the split, have been extremely weak, especially now with Slicey falling there. 3 space and time into the mid lane.
Engagement. 3 space and time onto just lane. He's going to get obliterated. Liquid Renegade credits with a kill to slam down from the blush to be slinking his way into mid lane. Yada, caught in an unfavorable position. Going to get his stun to save his life, and it might not be for too long. Done through a portal. Double portal. Yada quite low. Tomahawk looking for it. And over the top comes Eagles ready. Chuckles the trend with the kill onto Yada. Now absolute bedlam in the mid lane. Rob Diggity caught out. Forced it. Used his agility away. Kikiyomiya quite low as well. The Beast very low too. Gonna get away. Kikiyomiya gonna get obliterated by Mouse. So now this tier 2 in the mid lane should fall down.
And this exact same scenario we saw last game with Incite taking that tier 2 in the mid lane and now looking for the Phoenix. Now Avant, they are the ones being aggressive. They're the ones looking for the Phoenix. They're the ones going 4 and 10. They are looking extremely strong in this game.
There you go. Phoenix does indeed fall. Avant line. The exact same thing happened in the last game. Mid lane completely obliterated. Looked like a war zone. The other 2 lanes completely untouched, saved for a bit of damage on the tier 1 towers. Avant doing what Incite did to them.
And Incite now, I feel like there's actually a bit of like tilting and choking here. Even just having a look at the base, he's actually opted to build into a Dynasty Plate Hammer as a 3rd item. Last time he went straight into that Void Stone, straight into the damage, but now he's being, even though it does give power as well as the penetration, the Void Stone just does so much more, and you can kind of tell that the beast is on the edge. He's not the same, he's not allowed to reign free as he was last game as Cabrakan.
Well, he's just role-playing as Cabrakan, really. He's always on edge, always ready to blow his top at any point. But I do like the fact that he has gone into this sort of pseudo-defensive aggression item, considering that he's got Kikiyomiya in the jungle on Thor this time. Meaning they have that secondary frontliner, really. He could look to split the frontline duties with him.
Yes, and the thing is with Kiki, it looks like he's actually rebuilding into a Void Shield, which is a very nice pickup. Avant, we can already see that Amaterasu has already picked up the Void Shield. They want to shut down Just Lenny, and they've been able to achieve it this game. Last game, I believe he went 7-2-4. This game, he's gone 0-3. That is a very, very big difference.
The spicy Jingwei pick really proving worth here, and now they're going to go aggressive on this left side, tier 1. And starting to defend underneath the tier 2, though, are Incite. They've rotated the Beast in for this defense. The fight should break out any second.
Now, actually, I wouldn't say Incite. They need to back up. However, the Beast blinks in and gets a Seismic Crush onto Tomahawk.
Up in the air goes Thor, dunking down on the mouse in the backline. Half health is that Yanis. 3 space to time coming out for damage. Gonna hit absolutely nobody. Defend from this onto the Beast. So aggressive, gonna try and stun out Rob to get do some damage to the ADC, but it's not gonna be too much. Tomahawk gonna get stunned out there by the new War. Sprint's been activated. And going aggressive inside. They want this fight. They want to try and take this down. Up in the air goes New War. Gonna hit all 5 members. Rob Dignity quite low. We're gonna kill the Beast, however. And what looked like a good fight for Incite just turned absolute. Well, just turned absolutely in the favor of Avant. And now Kikiyomiya pulls down double kill by Tomahawk. The support's on a rampage. 4-1-7. Reads the Kumbhakana.
And as that fight has been going on, similar to our last game, minis are already pouring into the pit. Avant, though, choosing to reset Tomahawk is pretty low, and everyone else is actually getting very low themselves. Gold Fury just about to respawn in, actually just respawned, and Firegiant may be the next point of contention as it's now 25 minutes into this game.
Yeah, Gold Fury was the reason they backed off there. Just will get the safer, more confirmable map objective rather than the tier 2. You can go back and take that one down later. If you took down the tier 2 tower, had to back off, then Incite could have potentially got the Gold Fury, got themselves some gold, and got themselves back into this game slightly. This just shuts them out of the game even harder. Speaking
of being completely shut out, having a look at our graphs, it is now completely in the favor of Vanguard. Usually I say about 10,000 of any graph is an extremely bad sign. 15,000 experience and 12,000 gold is not something to sniff at.
Triple taunt in mid lane, scoring in solo lane from Biggie. Up in the air he goes from Tomahawk. Through space and time, hits 2 people. The Beast's going to be one of them. El Chuckle's going to kill Biggie on this left-hand side. Another tier 2 going to fall down. Just so he forced to back away as El Chuckles and Mouse, they're providing some zoning damage.
That is all they needed. That was a beautiful team fight. Like, the Mouse... I think the big catalyst for change this game has been Mouse picking up at Yanis. The amount of damage he's been able to do from so far behind compared to the Zeus is completely different. Having a look at the player damage charts, we can see he is actually sitting at the top of the damage charts just in front of Yada.
Yeah, well, from that fight, really, Biggie got a triple taunt and they still lost the fight. Whilst in the previous game earlier today, we saw a quadruple taunt lead to no damage being put on top of it, but they still won the fight. What's really been the difference here is to really why Biggie's not been able to support the team that hard.
You simply have to look at both the level and item disparity between the two teams to see exactly why. Like, if you have a look there, especially Yada, he's a whole 3 items behind, or 2 items behind, and now Avant are looking to actually take this tier 2 in the solo lane as they know they have the aggression, they have the levels, they have the actives, and they have the power.
Yeah, they take down all of the tier 2s. Mid Phoenix has respawned and just drop shipping it in. Is Mouse looking for Yada, doing some damage, forcing him to go to the Fire Shard's ultimate. The Beast looking aggressive to Rub Diggity, doing quite a bit of damage, dropping the Suns onto Mouse, but through the wall he goes. That's 2 ultimates used as the tectonic shift was used in the back by the Beast onto Rub Diggity. He's going to live with the airstrike.
And now Incite looking to defend this Phoenix as Biggie is charging in the taunt, actually not able to hit there. Now they're just going to have to reset, ensure this Phoenix doesn't fall. At least they were able to keep it alive as well as force out of the through space and time. But currently, Incite are going to have to pull off a miracle to win this game, unlike last time.
Oh my god, certainly holding a major advantage. Bigger advantage than Incite held over them in the previous game. So if this is going to be anything like last game, Avant should have this one in the bag. It's only going to be a matter of time. Fire Giant should be the next port of call for the boys in red. And once they've got that, they should go ahead and take down the Phoenixes and through that, the Titan.
As you said though, how you said Avant have it in the bag, they need to be a bit cautious about this Fire Giant. Last time in week 1 when they were versing Llamas in Pajamas, we thought they were going to win, and then it turned into a massive just Fire Giant dance. Eventually, I think it was like 4 different Fire Giants had to fall, but in the end, Llamas were able to win and actually steal a game that Avant should have easily won. So Avant do need to be careful and not have a repeat of week 1.
Rob Diggity going to be starting up this Fire Giant by himself, doing considerable damage to it by himself as well. Mouse and Tomahawk rotating in, El Chuckles and Liquid Renegade going to be charged with zoning away the boys of Incite from this Fire Giant, and looks like they're going to do just that. Avant destroyed the Fire Giant. Not even a hint of contest coming out from Incite, and this is going to be do or die time for Incite. They need to defend now or they've lost.
Avant, what they need to do, they have that 3 space and time. They can do what they did just last time, drop ship them in, just completely go as aggressive, force them to fight, force them into unfavorable positions, and take down these 3 Phoenixes. Currently, only 1 tower has fallen on the side for Avant, while everything else is down. All the Phoenixes are exposed. Titan can be easily taken down, especially by that Jingwei with the Persistent Gust steroid. So now they're looking to go in.
Oh, engage. Up in the air went Kikyo Mia from Tomahawk. And now the Beast, already hitting at half health, has to back his way out of there, but Mouse says, no, you're going to back yourself into the underworld, buddy. Down you go. Now it's a 4 versus 5 Thor landing down, and immediately teleporting out with Emergency Human. If Phoenix falls in the blink of an eye, left Phoenix going to be the next port of call. Mouse going back to push up some minions, but they don't need them. They don't need minions where they're going. They just need Fire Giants. And they've done just that. They've got this left Phoenix. Now the engagement with Liquid Renegade onto just laning. Biggie have to get it away as well. El Chuckles with the dazzling offense stuns out 2 people into the air. They go from Rob Diggity, but already a 4 versus 5, looking very good for Avant.
And also having a look at the side, we can see the minions are actually pushing up that way as well, and they are looking to take this 3rd and final Phoenix. Biggie trying his hardest to taunt away Avant, but to no avail. They take this 3rd and final Phoenix. Titan completely explodes, minions pouring in from all orifices, and now Avant looking to finish off this game.
And there we go. Titan current sitting at under 1,000 HP, and they do indeed end it. Avant finish today's action with a split against Incite 1-1. And what looked like very mirrored games. Both teams showing good and bad sides of themselves.
I feel like in this game, they simply learned. They learned from their mistakes from the last game. They were like, okay, we didn't have a late game. So, draft late game. We put Yanis, we put Jingwei, we put a Bologna, and suddenly, it was a massive change. The support Actually, Tomahawk performed even better. Last game, he played a very passive Geb. This game, he went on the much more aggressive Kumbhakana, and you saw the results. He was landing those groggy strikes, landing all these abilities, and ensuring the team was put into a very, very unfavorable position.
Avant-Garde from this game compared to last, what they did was grouped up. They talked and they communicated each one of their CC chains, their damage, where everybody else was, and you saw a completely different Avant-Garde in Game 1 and Game 2, similar to Incite. Their Game 1 team was absolutely perfect. Their game plan, their strategy, the way they executed it was perfect. In this game, it just fell to a more superior Avant-Garde team than they were expecting.
I kind of feel like that order of operations where they had the Thor, they had the Athena, they had the combo, they had what they need, but they just couldn't get it off. Like, they couldn't. A lot of the time, Kikume was just missing with those Anvil of Dawn. The Defender of Olympus were forced at very awkward times. Biggie was ulting a little too early, and Garde just simply didn't have the damage.
Yeah, well, that's gonna do it for us today. You should have joined us tomorrow, as we said before. Deadweight versus Pandemonium, a clash of the titans at the top of the table. One of them most likely will go ahead and take the first seed. It could end in a split as well. I know I'm going to be there for that one. Lynx, you're going to be there for that one, aren't you?
Yep, I'm going to be casting that one tomorrow, so I'll definitely be there. I am super excited for that one.
Yeah, and don't worry, we'll see you tomorrow at the same place at the same time.